Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of PHT TV. For today's Tech Tuesday, we're going to be jumping into something we have received a lot of questions on, and that is hooking up separates. The most common item used when hooking up passive speakers is going to be an AVR or audio video receiver. This is an all-in-one unit. It's your processor, it's your DAC, it's your amplifier, and in some cases, it can even be your source. As such, you end up with only one component on your desk powering your speakers. In short, separates do the same thing, but each component is separated into its own individual unit, allowing you to customize the individual components and place extra focus and emphasis on what's most important to you. Another advantage is that you can swap in and out components as needed or add additional components and features as you go. Now, you may be thinking, or you may have thought at some point in the past that that's too complicated. That's too difficult to do, and I'll just stick with my AVR. I'm here today to show you just how simple it is to hook up separates. A couple of extra cables and you're there. So here we have our most basic of setups. We have a source, a processor, and an amp. For our source, we'll be using the Node 2i. We're going to send the signal to the Parasound P6 processor, and then to the JC5 power amp. I apologize for the lack of focus on the P6 and the Node right now. My autofocus didn't follow me as well as I had planned for this shoot. I will throw up some images along the way though to better show you exactly what's happening here. Personally, I like to start with my source as it helps me kind of mentally follow the signal path and make sure that nothing is missed. Some like to work their way backwards, but as long as you make sure nothing is plugged in or powered, the order of operations isn't hugely important at this point. Now, as I said, I will start with my source, so that is the Node 2i. The Node has several outputs and the P6 has several inputs, but to simplify things today, we're going to go with a digital optical connection. I plug my optical cable into the optical out port on the Node 2i, and aside from power, we're done with this unit for now. The other end of this cable will go into the P6's Opt1 port, which is the optical 1 port. We have now connected the source to the processor. Next, we want to take the signal from the processor to the amp. We have several options here as well, but in the spirit of keeping this video short and making it as simple as possible, we're going to be using the XLR connections. We will go from our balanced out L or left on the P6 to our left channel balanced input on our JC5. Next, we will go from our balanced out R or right on the P6 to our right channel on the balanced input on our JC5. If you are using unbalanced connections, it is the same basic concept. You would come from your unbalanced output, which on the P6 is listed as main output, to your unbalanced input on your amp. Also, a key point to remember on this JC5 as well as several other units, there is an input selector switch. You'll want to flip this accordingly, so since we're using the balanced connectors, we would want to flip this switch up. In this video, I did not do this until after I flipped the unit around and was selecting sources, but if you're following along setting up your system, this is a good time to make this change to select your source to make sure that this doesn't cause a problem later. Now, we have taken our system from our source to our processor to our amp. Now we need to connect our amp to our speakers. Right output on the JC5 to the right speaker. Left output on the JC5 to the left speaker. Provide power for all three units, and boom, you're all set. Let's flip them around. As we are going with the simplest of setups, we did not connect a trigger switch to these units. If you want to make the startup process a bit easier, you could place a 12-volt trigger between the units so that when one turns on, they all turn on. That said, with no trigger, you just turn on each unit, press play on your source, turn up the volume, and enjoy. While separates can be intimidating to some, there really isn't that much to them. Just a couple of extra connections and you are on your way to a completely customized setup. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a comment below if you have any questions, and please hit those like and subscribe buttons below if you found this helpful. I'm Jason, and we will see you again soon on the next episode of PHT TV.